Right, welcome back to the Natural Physique Coaching Podcast. It is just myself and Noah. No one's turning up for these podcasts nowadays. We had you and Finn missing last week, and now it's Finn and Matt. Seems to be a common denominator with
I was
Finn.
about, it's a common
Yeah,
theme here.
yeah. Who
Uh,
even open their own gym, man? You should be focusing on the Natural Physique Podcast,
exactly, mate.
realistically. But no, obviously Finn is very, very busy with the opening of the gym. Those who are watching this in the Natural Physique hub will obviously be knowing about the client meetup that's happening soon with that opening there, and he's really busy to make sure that that's spot on. So we've got that, and then Matt is filming some exclusive content and some more so what do you call it, secretive content with Sanaya and Kez doing some polls and stuff, and maybe a little link up, we'll see. But it's just myself and Noah. I'm going to go see Sinners after this. If anyone's watched it, you can let me know in the comments. Hopefully it's not shite. You know, I'll have watched it by the time that you comment anyway, but let me know your opinions.
You
Go for it.
still going to see it, yeah?
Yeah, so we need to be relatively efficient because the movie starts in just over an hour. I've also got my meal here. So if you see me munching in the background, just, deal with it. It's not going to be too loud, hopefully. You know, when someone's in an Xbox party and you can just hear them pure ragging through it. I hate that. But we're going to go through Noah's prep. So Noah will be doing a little bit more talking than me, realistically. The lessons learned from that, like what you done, getting into this condition, how you got there, where you were at that stage, the things that you picked up within prep, how it changed you as a person, how you were coming out of it, where you are now, what the plans are for the future, so on and so forth. So, anything else you want to add before we get cracking on into it, or go for it?
Nah, man. Yeah, I think that I've kind of touched on a couple of things in the previous podcast, but this one I'll be able to maybe go on a little bit more in depth. Obviously, I'm not someone who's won a show yet.
You
But
were.
that's the aspiration for 2026. If we can see how things lie, depending on injuries and things such as that. But yeah, I think I can crack on. So do you want me to start it off? To be fair, if you've got your share screen on that, I'll just flip over to my share screen at some point. But with these photos here, obviously the before photos on the left. Actually, fuck it, I'm just gonna go on to my share screen, and pull up those photos.
Do I need to stop sharing? Sorry, my
Yeah.
admin and technology is horrendous.
Uh,
Um,
I've
I'll
sent a
take
request to you, mate. I've sent a share request apparently.
wonderful. I don't know where that's going to be coming up.
Fantastic. This is great stuff, guys. Hopefully
If
you
we start the podcast. Oh, there we go. Allow. Spot.
perfect. Right, so if I can go to this one here. Fat Boy, right? Fat Boy. We had started prep. Um, I want to say it was around about May time, end of May. I had just come out of a relationship. Now, those who know, obviously, I'm not going to sit and go on about my life story because I'm sure people will be fucking sick of it. But yeah, obviously, I had just come out of a relationship. I was with her for about 3 years at this point, and I mentally have not been great my whole life. So I've definitely had my struggles, and when it came to dealing with that breakup, I definitely lent onto some things that I shouldn't have done. So I was drinking pretty much every weekend, getting so drunk to the point it was like blackout drunk, throwing up constantly, like not really looking after my body and neglecting it quite a bit. And obviously, towards the tail end of an off season. I almost had it in my mind like, oh, I'm trying to gain weight. It's okay. And I feel like some people towards the end of their gaining phase can somewhat start to fall into that mindset where they think that because they've been pushing up for X amount of time, they can be a little bit more relaxed with some things. And it is a dangerous kind of way to stumble into things such as, excessive drinking, like I was at this point, eating the wrong kinds of foods, and setting myself up for a hard prep, to put it bluntly. I ended up starting prep very ill. I ended up having tonsillitis. I then had um, I've completely forgotten what it was, but I had like a golf ball sized tonsil. I can't remember if I've showed you the photo,
Never
Josh.
seen it.
I'll
I
be
don't
able
think I
to,
can see your screen as well. I don't know how to.
it's on so it's set up for the photo of me being really fat from the, um,
Are you still on just like the Instagram?
no.
Ah.
Are you still looking at your own Instagram though? Are you still looking at your own screen?
I'm looking at both of us together, but I can't see what you are sharing.
Hold on, let me stop screen share. Is it
Yep.
now just us two? Right?
Yep.
And then if I go on to this, what's coming up?
There we go.
Fatty's here.
Yeah.
So
Brilliant. Sorry for
this
the
was
references,
me
everyone.
at around about £188.
Yep.
So in kilograms, I couldn't tell you what that is. Josh, you'll have to be Mr. Converter here. But 188 is, and that look is fucking appalling. Um,
86 kg.
yeah, that is fucking embarrassing, to be honest with you. So very soft, and
Like,
again, like I mentioned, leading into some things that I probably shouldn't have done. But from that point, I had then obviously started prep. Now, this was back in 2022. So when it comes to the knowledge that we have in terms of approach to preps now, it's very different.
about
So
bone control and protecting the muscle, and I
yeah,
think everyone like was kind of oblivious to that. Yeah, not even just us, like the whole.
oh, 100%. Like if you look back in the day, like it was ages ago, even back in 2022, like natural bodybuilding's taken such a rise from this day and from this season. But again, when it comes to like prepping clients, I know that Finn, I was like maybe Finn's fourth, a third or fourth client on stage. I was his first teen and obviously starting on a pretty soft composition. No one really ran pre-prep diets. It was more so you off season, then you prep. So
Relatively not short diets, but like people are prepping for 20, 26, 30, and they're starting relatively lean and it's keeping it super super slow rate of loss. But how many weeks was your prepping?
So my prep was about 16 to 17 weeks long, before my first show. Now starting in this composition was obviously pretty mental, to be honest with you. I'm trying to see what my other tabs are without going on to that's just the newer photos. So yeah, obviously I end up getting a little bit softer, but you couldn't really see in terms of the photos from this.
Yeah, like the
But
one we
again,
had before, wasn't it? Like
yeah, like I
oh,
mentioned,
that
it
photo.
was
Yeah, yeah.
a bit worse, but again with different lighting, like you couldn't really tell like the pouch that I was really starting to carry. My legs were actually not too bad, like back in the day
Yeah,
when I had functioning fucking
yeah.
knees.
Knees.
Um, but even in these shots here, like you could see, it was just your average under-muscled, over body fatted teen. And then, with time, diet started to kick in. And again, a pretty aggressive rate of loss to the point where we're losing about 3 to 4 pounds every single week. And people probably wince at the thought of what I was doing for expenditure. Um, I know Josh, when I told him, couldn't really believe the amounts of expenditure that I was on. But for myself, like I enjoy walking, so we decided to ramp up expenditure to the point where I was on 25,000 steps a day.
Wee
Um,
bit of Pokemon Go does the job, eh?
Mate, I'm telling you, Pokemon Go is the cheat code.
Unbelievable prep hack. If anyone wants to go out and do steps,
Pokemon
Go.
Go.
Big
So
up
I
the guys
used to
there.
do 10,000 fasted every single day, but those
You have
10,000.
a did you have a route to do where you got a good amount of Pokestops?
So I based my routine for steps out of where I had the most Pokestops. So if you know Glenburn, you know Glenburn, but I would walk down this main street, get 3,000 steps, and it would take me past all the main Pokestops, then come back and follow the exact same way for my 6,000. Then I'd walk all the way back home, and then I would start my 4,000 step route. So I'd do my 6,000 steps, come back home, then do a 4,000 like it was like a big turn, that gave me my 10,000 with a 10 kg bag. So my steps were about 20 to 25k towards the back end, with cardio being 45 minutes every day apart from leg day. Sorry, I am very I'm still
Hello.
but
You got me to thank for that.
yeah, yeah, cheers, mate. But yeah, the prep ended up getting quite like aggressive, which it obviously needed to be to get in condition.
Yep.
And within a space of like a couple of like maybe 2 months, I started to be able to see a bit more separation through the legs. And I remember taking this
Okay.
photo,
Yeah.
thinking my legs are actually starting to look okay.
Yeah.
And I thought
You
this
see
is
that separation properly for the first time, you're like, holy shit.
yeah, like I'd never seen separation, and it was from this point where you kind of started to see change a bit more often. Now, what I will say is, in this prep, I definitely could have been more normal. I kind of cut my friends off. So one thing I do recommend to people is keep your social interactions and still be human at the end of the day. Like prep ended up getting pretty lonely at points towards the back end. I guess hormonally, I was pretty fucked, which I can obviously
Yeah,
go
you
into.
can't be bothered doing anything. You're like, oh, well. I can't be fucked doing this or anything that's out with your normal routine. You're like, yeah, I'm not doing that because I don't need to do it. I'm just going to focus on something else or whatever it may be. But I feel like a lot of people think that going out with your mates needs to be drinking or eating food. It just
Yeah.
doesn't. I say this so much to clients. Go, an online coach specialist, go bowling. But bowling's fun. It's fucking brilliant. Competitive. Then you go to the arcade after it. Brilliant. Go to a trampoline park. Like be kids again and
If you
just enjoy
connect
yourself.
all your enjoyment and all your fun to eating and drinking, you're not being able to take in the company and just the actual
Yeah.
feeling of eating together with your mates. Like if you derive all your enjoyment
If you
from
need
that,
to be drunk or if you need to go out to actually have a good time, there's definitely an issue.
there's some underlying issues. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
You
Um,
enjoy yourself without fucking having the need to drink or eat, like bowling, trampoline park, cinema, mini golf, go for a fucking walk with your mates. Like,
we went for a walk, a good few in prep mind.
yeah,
Um, and then we
yeah.
came in and we saw Stan trying to what I say, he was beefing someone.
Nearly get stabbed.
Welcome to Paisley. But
Times.
in terms of from this point, we started to notice the
What
look.
weight was that, do you think, roughly?
I want to say this was probably sitting closer towards, yeah, so this was August the 13th. So I was probably sitting around about the
160s?
153. This was probably 153, so like
Right.
71 kg.
Yeah. And I thought you'd maybe be like high 150s, low 160s there, but that's like near like full condition then.
Yeah, I would say the thing is, I think that one of the issues was that I obviously didn't have a lot of muscle. Like, I
Mm.
think that whenever I come further down, like, I can start to see where my genetics lie and where, like,
They,
maybe
they
not
look good
genetics, but
shots
where
like
my
that.
insertions lie,
Yeah.
um, and my structure sits itself. Like, when I get lean, my ab structure is pretty nice. It's pretty symmetrical.
Mhm.
Um, again, there wasn't much ab there, but again, like, that's something that you can get with more time training them, which obviously is a big part of my training now. I think that as I got closer into the show, I started to die out more because of the fatigue. You can see in these shots here, like obviously the lighting's very different, but in the space of what, maybe 7 days, I started to really notice a big difference from there to there. Like I really
Yeah, your
started,
lats are sweeping out a lot more there. Your legs like a good chunk fuller, etc.
I definitely started to notice I was feeling a bit more fucked. And like there's stories. Remember the one with the dog, Josh?
What one?
The dog story with the vets.
Can't remember. I remember you fainting like a good few
Yeah,
times.
so I had a good few issues with like my iron and I ended up collapsing quite a few times. But there's this one time where I was home alone. It was a Sunday. It was a rest day, so I was like, right, steps and cardio. That's the plan for today. And I had the dogs lying up in the bed. I probably can't tell the full story because again, I don't want to go into all that kind of stuff. But again, the dogs basically jumped off. I've woke up and I'm covered in blood. Like I am like my arms are covered in blood. My bed sheets are like soaked in blood. And I've got the dogs to jump away because I've thought, fuck, I'm just like bleeding out from prep. I didn't know what was going on because already I was absolutely in the mud. So the dogs jumped away, but the bloods followed the dog. So I remember being all stressed out and thinking, oh my God, there's something wrong with the dog. I can't drive. How am I meant to make sure the dog's okay? My mum was down in Newcastle this weekend. And obviously, when you're in that prep mindset and you're so used to your routine, I was like a fucking robot, mate. So I couldn't handle any sort
Stressed
of
out so much when something's slightly different. Yeah.
Oh, it was nuts. I remember sending Finn voice notes, just crying my eyes out, saying, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get my steps in, mate. My dog's just bleeding out. And he's like, mate, just listen to what you're saying. Your dog's fucking bleeding, mate. Like,
And you're worried about your steps.
yeah, so I even remember, like, I managed to get one of my mom's friends to take me to the vets. And Rudy, the dog, love Rudy. He gets seen too. And he ended up coming back and she was like, you need to watch your dog. You need to watch your dog. I'm like, oh my God, I need to do my steps. I need to do my steps. I need to do my steps.
What the
And
fuck you do?
what the fuck do I do? So in a rush of being like, I need to do something, I got up and just instantly like came back down. Like my body just went limp and I just went bang into the kitchen and I was like, fuck, I need to do something to try and get this expenditure up. So I remember I ended up bringing him up to the room where I've got my treadmill and just having him sat there doing my I'd done 20 minutes in the cardio. I was like, right, if I can break
Yes.
it up in times, if I can break it up in a little bit and he doesn't just die next to me, that's okay. So I'd done like 20 minutes and then I was like, oh my God, I've not even started my 25,000 steps. And I just remember saying, I was like sat there thinking, right, what do I do? Do I go anyway? Do I just say fuck it, let's go, and go the walk, or do I have to leave it? I was like, I'm gonna go the walk. So the vets were like, you need to watch this dog. You need to watch this dog. But I was like, I've got 25,000 steps. I need to get something in. And I remember sending like voice notes and phoning my auntie, crying my eyes out, like, the dog, the dog. I need to get my steps
Awful.
in. Like I was not all there.
Yeah,
The weights in my bag, and I was like falling into like the rail that stops the cars coming onto the
yeah.
pavement. I was like collapsing into it, like my body was just beaten up. And Finn got back to me like halfway down my walk, and he was like, "Turn around and go back. Like stop being stupid. Like you need to just try and chill out." So I got myself back, and I was still just so upset the rest of the day. So my mum came back at some point later on in the evening, and I just sat in the treadmill for God knows how long, walking to try and get the rest of my steps in. But I was so upset, and it was at that point where it was around about this stage where I then just died out. Like it definitely took it out of
So
me.
much stress and your body just decides, fuck this shit. Like when you're putting
Oh,
yourself through stuff
right.
like that. I think, like, I remember when Finn brought you on as his co-coach, and at that point, like, Finn had clients who had been coaching for longer because you'd not really like coached that much. You just kind of started up your own online coaching
Yeah,
page.
so this is something I can, if I can share screen my photos.
Yeah, but
Boom.
I remember thinking like, why has he picked Noah? Like, there's NBC coaching down there.
Yeah, so it was during prep. I'd actually
I remember Noah Campbell coaching.
yeah, that's it, man. During
Yeah,
prep, I had wanted to start being a coach. Like I loved the process, and I started to notice I got a lot of joy out of the process, and I thought, oh, if I can like earn a living by helping other people with that, that'd be amazing. So like the rookie sheets and everything like that.
yeah. I used to sit and do it in my higher admin class. I used to
You're
sit
not
in like
back in school.
yeah. So I sat and made all mine up, and the teacher was going off for a nut, and I was like, oh, want to make my coaching sheets. Turns out I made them all on Excel, and like that doesn't automatically update when you put something in. You need to click save as and shit. And I was like, oh, fucking, I've messed up here, but I ended up transferring it all over to Google Sheets. But that would have been what late 2021. Yours was kind of like mid 2022. So
Yeah,
I used to think like, why is he picked Noah? Like because there was people that had maybe been with you or with him for longer that he'd known more or they had more experience coaching or they had ridiculous physiques and this and that. And I was like trying to figure out why. But then when you see shit like this, like it kind of explains why he picked you because you were going through a lot of hard shit and you were struggling, but you just cracked on. Like you'd still done that. You've shown that like the amount of change that you went through in that small period of time. And I always speak about this like with a bodybuilding prep, it generally can change you as a person. Like usually for the better, ideally for the better. Some people obviously can go the opposite way depending on how they handle it and if they let it get to them too much and out of the back end of prep, how to let that mentally affect them. But if you decide to just be like, right, I'm fucking going for this, like I'm going to devote everything to this and apply myself to it, you never know what can happen. Like it shows that you have a lot of mental resilience, that you have, the ability to work really hard. And Finn was like, that's way more important than someone having more experience or someone having like a crazy, crazy physique and shit like that. And I was like, oh, that's fucking sick. Like you worked your way into that position. It wasn't as if it just got handed to you. Like showing you people that you can work. And I think that's so important within a prep. Like getting into that mindset. And obviously, it can go a little bit too far to the point where your dug's bleeding out and you're greeting about the steps. But like, I'm not going to say you'd rather be in that position, but when someone's like doing the extreme shit and you have to tell them, mate, stop doing that, or like you're overworking
yeah.
yourself, like that's a significantly better position to be in than, mate,
I've
why have
someone.
you not done your cardio? Why have you not done any of this? Like, you're not in a great position. If you're in going into prep and you're like just being about everything and you don't want to do any hard work, you're in for a bit of a shock. And I feel like a lot of people portray prep to be like way more difficult than it is sometimes on social media. And some people say it's an absolute doddle, so you don't really know what you're going to get with it. But more so just apply yourself into it and see what happens. And it's what you done. It's literally changed your life. So I think that's important for people that are maybe watching this, like wondering about first time preps or, what it's going to be like. Obviously, there's the stories of you like fainting and stuff like that, like realistically not normal. That's because you pulled off a lot of weight. I think that's a good talking point for this podcast as well. Like, obviously, making sure you start in a better position where you're closer to stage condition. Oh, that looks brilliant,
That
that.
was unreal. That was
Yeah.
that would have been M2 or three maybe.
Yeah.
That would
No,
have been
that
M2 or
looks
three.
so appetizing, that, bro.
Yeah, I was so this is probably TMI, but I could not shit for God knows how long. It was like a good few days, weight hadn't dropped, and I was like, Finn, mate, I need to
Black
start
coffee.
dubbing fiber or doing something. And he was like, oh, mate, just try some black coffee. And I was like, absolutely disgraceful. Never, I hate black coffee.
It's terrible.
Ended up, I think there's a photo somewhere. I'll probably pass it on this. And it's me working on my sheets with a cup of black coffee. And I look just echoed at my mind. Um, I don't know where it is. I don't think it's here actually.
Fuck you,
It
screw
might be
that.
like a
Gives you that
snap.
when you have a little bit and you're just absolutely done.
Oh, it was fucking horrible. But it was like, and I always saved my coaching work for the morning, because that's when I was a bit more fresh. But this was also the prep where I started learning Japanese. So when it comes to this prep, it really did change my life. Like I started coaching, I learned Japanese, and if you look at what I do now, I coach in Japanese. Like it's pretty fucking mental, to think that had this prep not gone ahead, like everything would be very different. There was the slushies, the go-tos. So
That just diluting juice or was that hydroflow or
just
something?
just diluting juice. Didn't even know what a hydroflow was, mate.
Yeah.
Like the only thing you'd have me taken back then was what was it I was having? It was just the ruby chocolate from My Protein. That was my protein. Also, I started the protein whey, the whey fucking drip that
Yeah,
everyone's
the
talking
whey
about.
paste, whey sludge. You called it sludge at the time, and that sounded rancid to me. I think paste, to be fair, doesn't sound brilliant. Doesn't sound quite right. But I remember when we went down to together, like I brought my air fryer with me. We bought loads of fucking like food, getting ready to go, this and that. And you whip out a mug, start putting your CMP rainbow whey in it, and then put a little bit of water, and you're like making it up, and that doesn't sit right as a paste as well. Like it goes purely
Yeah, the
good.
CMP makes it a sludge though.
Yeah, I was looking at it and I was just like, how the fuck are you eating that? And you were saying like, oh well, my meal one, like when I was in prep, used to just be that. And I was like,
Yeah,
fuck off. And I was like, that's absolutely mental because I didn't know anything about bodybuilding at that point, realistically. Like I was just training this and that. I was like, surely that's not right, that's not healthy. Like, how do you eat that? And then fucking I turned into a mad whey paste connoisseur as well. But
you and your
yeah,
views.
it's crazy, isn't it?
But yeah, like I think around about this point was probably my best look in prep. I think before I died out was probably like 2 to 3 weeks out. You can see like my condition was
Yeah,
obviously
hamstring's
wasn't
good there even
I
though it's
wasn't peeled,
right.
but like you could start to see some shape, which was nice.
Yeah.
I'd been training properly probably for maybe 6 months at this point.
Yeah.
Um, I'd been training for longer, but again, like form was shit, intensity was shit. I hadn't felt a connection in my lat until about 4 months post prep. So again, when it comes to like the look that I could bring, um, I was like at the time I was pretty proud of the look. I think that in terms of the size that I had, I thought that I came in relatively decent condition considering the duration of the prep as well. Obviously with lots of different factors we can discuss, but I think I was pretty proud of the look that I was able to bring. And like even this, I remember looking down at my legs thinking, what the fuck that day? Like it was the most vascular I've ever been. I've never been someone to be vascular. So being
When
able
you
to
start to get into a level of condition, like just your forearms, your legs, your calves, as you can see there, like there's just veins everywhere. I
yeah,
think you this time, like you prep with more muscle and being able to get into that condition, you realize that you have grown a lot. And like even with that there, like you've not got a great deal of muscle, but that looks sick. Like imagine what that will look like now with like much sweepier lats, your delts will look bigger, better, your arms there. Like I think that'll be sick.
yeah,
I
my
think
legs
you,
are smaller now, mate.
yeah,
But
it'd be.
that's another fucking thing. But anyway, obviously headed down to Manchester with Mr. Eric Gearns. Got the photos, got my tan for the first time. Haven't I
Get
was
that on the Tinder profile.
fuck yeah, man.
Get
Look,
that one on. That's a brilliant one. Handsome.
I'll see if there's a photo of my face like proper black. I think it was the next day.
I've
Uh,
got some outrageous ones, and like bad lighting as well. I'm just a shadow.
I need to be careful what's on my camera roll around this point. Um, but yeah, that one was bad. That I've been literally the same color as my hair there. I
Maybe
meant
abs and thigh below that. It's hard to see that.
that one was just because my legs started to come out a little bit more.
Yeah.
But that night we were sat in
I
the
remember looking at that and just being,
um
I wish I was in that room. There was so many bodybuilders and people that I looked up to.
it was me, Finn, I think it was the first time I met Finn. Me, Finn, Reese, Eric, you've got Frank over here, who's one of Reese's clients, and then you had Jacob Huxley, who was his mate at the time. And then I don't know if people might remember Jamie Smith. Jamie Smith is fit.
Jimmy Smith is fit and I want to check
He
his
used to be
and
like
see.
a
I wonder, does he
TikToker
still
back in the
post?
day. I don't know if he still posts, but fuck, he was hilarious. And he just decided he'd pop up. And I ended up walking and I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. This is so cool.
Yeah.
Yes. So
His
if
last
people
post
people
was
remember him,
July 2024.
see that was his thing. It was always consistency. Like he was funny as fuck, but he'd go through patches where he'd be like super consistent with his coaching and then super consistent with his like content and then just stop.
Yeah.
Um,
I wonder
but
if he does nowadays.
I'm not too sure. But yeah, so that was prep. I should probably get my actual stage shots up, shouldn't
Go for it.
I? Fuck, I don't like the professional ones.
Professional ones are brutal. They always make you look like significantly softer than you are. Like all
Yeah.
the ones that I would get as well. Like I'd get camera photos or iPhone photos, even if they were in like decent quality, it looked good, and then you get the professional photos, you're just like,
Yeah, but to
not
be
quite.
fair, I wanted to use that as like my leverage when it came to my push and my coaching. But yeah, this is the look. Like I was like looking at this, like structure wise, it's pretty nice to see,
Yeah,
considering I hadn't been training for that long. I think structure is relatively okay. I just needed a whole lot more muscle. But condition, like we definitely started to see some more
yeah,
lines.
mate, for the situation you were in, like you've done extremely well.
Yeah, and like when you compare these two here, like this was genuinely like it says here, 16 to 17 weeks, and I got softer than this by the end of it. So to get in the condition and like the nick that I was able to, I was pretty happy. Like some of the photos, it's like it's weird looking back at some of these for me. It's quite emotional.
You're
Uh,
like a different person, realistically. Like
like
just
yeah,
because you're here and when I've known you and everything like that doesn't look like you to me because I've always known you as who you are now.
yeah. Like the thing
Crazy.
is, even in some of these shots, like obviously I don't think I've actually spoken about this, maybe even to you or to on a podcast or anything, but even in these front shots, like there is marks on my arms from when I used to self-harm. And I remember looking back at the photos and seeing that for the first time, being like, holy shit, like I can still see on those photos because of the scars were a little bit like at the start of prep and just before the back end of it. Like the tan, you could see like the slight difference in how the tan took on the skin.
Yeah.
Um, and being able to look at the photos like here, and then think about the marks that were on my arms. It's quite mad to think about.
Yeah.
Um, and it does still fill me with pride the fact that I was able to overcome that kind of stuff. And again, I don't think not that I can remember, I don't think I have self-harm since then. So again, like it is something where it has made quite a difference in my life. And then
Just
obviously,
taking action in a sense, don't it? Like for what you want to do, the person that you want to be. I spoke about that to a client in one of their check-ins this week. I was like, he kind of keeps on doing the same stuff and he's like in the same repetitive pattern of not really doing what he wants to do. I was like, who's the person that you want to be? What do they do? Do it. Like if you wanted to be a bodybuilder, if you wanted to be someone that looked after themselves, was in good shape, that looked fucking sick, that has their own coaching business, you get to it. Like there's nothing better for your mental health than simply taking action and going and doing what you set out to do. And that shows for yourself, like in a 16, 17 week period of time, you'd kind of turned your life around in a sense, going into like a new career. Yeah, I'm not saying that's going to happen for everyone, but you go into a new career, you feel significantly better yourself. You feel that level of pride and satisfaction, as you say, about like knowing that you've done everything you could, and you've like fully, for the first time probably in your life, like really just full sent something. I kind of said that in a post recently as well. Like, take pride in what you do and just go for it. Don't care what anyone else thinks because you probably had a lot of mates at the time who were like, the fuck's Noah doing? And obviously, as you say, you went like a little bit kind of quieter and they maybe had a little bit of reason to be like, oh, what's he doing?
yeah,
But just go for it, whatever you want to do. Like it's gonna be cringy or weird until, you get the new career and you're now working for yourself and you're traveling all over the world and this and that. Like stop thinking or caring about what other people think. And it was the same with me when I went into my prep, especially when you're tagging me in photos and we made knob out pretty much. Maybe Tony the Tiger on.
Listen,
Unbelievable. You
iconic.
need to get content. You need to get content. The
Yeah,
FK Physiques page has never seen so many views in its life, but yeah, like it was the same with my prep as well. Like not fuck everyone else in a sense, but I'm gonna do my thing and see where it takes me. And now here both of us are, again, not to sound pure like cocky and weird, but we're on a podcast like that we technically run, like we have every week in the position we are. So I think fully committing yourself into a bodybuilding prep is just there's something different about that compared to even like making loads of money or having a successful business because a physique is built by you. It's not bought by money. It's not through a fucking mentorship. It's this and that. It's you. It's your body. You're sculpting that. And I think the way that you can come in or the transformation that you can make like reflects as to who you are and what you do. And that's fucking sick. Like I think there's like that'll probably sound weird to some people and like over the top, but like I think it's just so cool to be able to do that like from a bodybuilding prep, and I think you're a shining example of that. And obviously with learning Japanese as well, then opening up a complete different like realm to your life where you've now really found that you've enjoyed traveling and learning Japanese and doing all that stuff. Like you just never know what can happen.
yeah, man. Like I'd went to Japan right after this prep as well for the first time, so it set me up. But this was the UK DFBA 22 highlight, which people don't even know's on this because it's all about my traveling stuff. You
Yeah.
can see the old school FK Physiques frame.
Nice. I like that.
This is old days, mate. I've been with Finn. This is
Your
coming up for
gym.
4 years now. Oh no, this is coming up for 5 years now, which is pretty mental. But yeah, this was. I went quiet on social media from about starting prep to then 10 weeks out. I started to see a couple more lines, and then obviously it started to be like, no, no mission, will not fucking miss. But really started to fall in love with the process. Had some sessions for posing with Finn every week, and same with Will. And this was me and Miles were prepping at the same time. But yeah, it was pretty cool to be able to start to see like shape, things like that come through. And finding out shots that maybe look nice. Finn was I want to say Finn was quite a big boy at this point.
Oh,
Um,
Finn's a big fat mess, eh?
I remember I think you had maybe messaged me about this one.
Did I?
I feel
That
like
maybe after I seen you in the gym at one point.
I wasn't in the gym at that point though, but I feel like I had a don't fucking hell.
Did I meet you after
You met me after I prepped because I remember,
after prep?
yeah,
Okay.
because you told me that you had been like, how the fuck she competed, pure arsehole.
No,
But yeah,
it's just 'cause bodybuilders at the time for me were big, roided, massive cunts. Like I didn't know of natural bodybuilding. Like I just thought to be a bodybuilder you had to look like big Vorstech in the gym, big
yeah,
massive pulled roid monster. Like I didn't know that that was possible.
yeah, mate,
And
natural
see,
physique,
what
mate.
song did you use?
It was, oh fuck, it was. I think it was often by the weekend, but I had to find like a non-verbal one because I don't think Lee Kemp would be happy with me posing to eat that pussy often. So I had to just use like the backing track or
You
something like
know,
that.
we could have enjoyed it.
Um, and then to be fair, the best video was gonna be by what do you call him? Will. But then someone walked across and then the lighting like changed. Um,
So annoying.
then that was my favorite shot, the front tricep. And then
That was good. The lighting adjusted there.
tell you what, I could vacuum pretty fucking nice back here before I was a big blubbery
Your
mess.
midsection does look good there, like detail wise. That's pretty sick.
That I've got a
Yeah,
hell of
yeah.
a vacuum on me. When I'm not soft as a fucking pancake. See straight away the binge began. No, the
Could have
favorite.
shagged that bugger to be honest. I
Um,
remember that photo, mate. Like, was that the time when there was somebody getting like battered
that
walking
was
past or
fucking
something?
hilarious. Right,
I
so
remember seeing that.
right outside this window, there was like this big group of like maybe 30 people from Manchester, and all of a sudden there's this girl like getting this boy's face. Who you talking to? Don't do that, don't do that. And all of a sudden this boy's went bang, cracked this girl and she's dropped to the floor. And he's realised in front of about 30 people he's just punched and decked this girl. So all of a sudden he starts sprinting away. And for some reason he jumps on a bus. So then all these people, it's like whenever you lift up a brick and all these little like wood louse just go and crawl out everywhere. Everyone fucking runs down this street in Manchester and starts surrounding this bus. People are trying to get in the emergency exits to get this guy. And then the police come and genuinely everyone just goes and scuttles away from the bus. But the guy got like the police were just stood there at the bus for ages. But yeah, it was literally right outside from there. See post. This used to be the pin
Different
post.
account or
No, this was my pin post, but I got rid of it because I was quite embarrassed by my photos. So I was like, I don't want to have them up. But yeah, like when I look back at these photos, it is pretty cool to see where I was here. And this shot here, obviously, this show was probably one of the first teen show where the standards started picking up.
that
So we had,
Bogdani is, isn't it?
yeah, Josh
He
Bogdani.
looks good there, to be fair. That's a good shot.
He has a
He
very
had
good.
a nice physique, like somewhat strangely, not strangely shaped. I think it was just because again he was young. Like some
Lats
parts
way
were,
over the top.
yeah, some were really good, and then some like a teeny bit more stringy. But again, that's just being like a taller teen. He looks mint nowadays as well.
This whole like the whole group of boys like pretty sound. Like Frank obviously met him the night before, but messaged him through Instagram. You had Josh, lovely guy as well. Josh Holmes. Then you had me, obviously the handsome one. Then Josh Bogdani and this guy called Jack, just
Jack or
huge,
Yak.
bubbly guy. You saw him in backstage and you thought, yeah, he's one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one. Fair enough. And then you had Ben Barlow, which was he had a really good shape, really good structure, but was just soft at the end of the day. And obviously I came home with third place. Third place, fifth place. Sorry, I fucking wish it was third place.
Yeah, just 11 was third soon.
Yeah, it was third. I promise, guys. I came home with fifth place. And out of the six, I think that probably is fair. I think that I could have maybe pushed Frank a little bit, in terms of posing and things such as that. But
I think
uh,
just like again, it's the same with everyone there. Like there's weak shots, there's strong shots. Like
yeah,
I think your rear, like the rear
oh,
lat bit, the rear double
there
bicep, like
wasn't a rear. There wasn't
yeah,
a rear.
that was the issue.
Uh,
Based off some of the photos that I've seen there, like there was a little bit of an imbalance it seems as well. Again, probably just because you couldn't bring your lats out properly, and there's a little bit of an inconsistency. Like the see that rear relaxed, yes, yeah,
so
like
much muscle,
there's
guys.
no there's no lat on the bottom right, like
No lat in the fucking bone at all, mate.
yeah.
Like I said, I hadn't actually felt a connection with my lat at all.
That's why I think seeing people say like, "Oh, you shouldn't be connecting with your lat when you've not trained for that long," and like there's no lat to actually connect with, and like what so the person's lat just doesn't do it at all. It's like trying to say on a leg extension you shouldn't feel a contraction. Your quads aren't big, but there are still quads there. Like you've still got the muscle, otherwise you wouldn't be able to fucking walk. If you didn't have a lat, you wouldn't be able to lift anything. Like
Yeah.
actually learn how to engage your lats because it's going to help you so much with posing. It's also going to help you grow them a hell of a lot. Like, boom, there you go.
This
Your
lineup
back came on
is
a lot.
the best. My back has definitely improved. But even like in terms of the shots anyway, oh Jesus, that's the blood work. We don't need to talk about that. But
Maybe not
even
bad. Yeah,
the
so.
shots here, like these shots, obviously some men's physique, obviously putting on a decent bit more muscle now.
Much what the fuck?
Huh?
You've grown a lot. That was good.
Yeah, this one's it's cool to look at this shot here. And just even there, like obviously a good chunk heavier structure, like still somewhat holding tightness.
Your
Uh,
arms look good there. Arms and lats like your arms were probably not a weaker point. Again, just didn't have a great deal of muscle on them. Like ended up looking a little bit stringier, but they look good there.
yeah, like in terms of muscle, like clearly started to add on a bit more tissue now.
Yeah.
But the plan is obviously 2026 to compete again. The goal was 2025. However, like I just didn't have muscle. Like I didn't have muscle. If I look, hold on, I'm gonna have to go back and go on to a different thing. I do apologize. People are probably like, fucking pick a photo and stop moving.
Oh mate, there'll be more complaining about the start. See when you were trying to share your screen, I was just pure faffing about. I feel like I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. And I was picking up random stuff like left, right, and center, but you're pretty
So
efficient with it.
this is 1 year apart, and this was the same. This was me like, okay, I want to prep next year, and this is me now being like, okay, I want to prep next year. Now, obviously, you can see the upper's taking a big jump, but the lower's like falling back. That's just due to injuries and being pretty fucking apparent all through the year. So training approach has had to be quite different, but in terms of extra year, I'm glad that we've had that for an extra year's growth in the junior field. But it looks like it may be like some men's physique shows just because my knee seems to be just not wanting to play ball. Both knees have been fucked. Whether that be because I've been headbutted by deer, or whether that be that my like I've just snapped like my patellas went, or like injuries again from the patella or ACL from football. It's just kind of frustrating that these injuries keep cropping up. But again, like we're growing, we're doing what we can do to make the best of the situation and not just throwing the towel in. I
Yeah.
definitely had points in this push-up phase where I've been like, what's the fucking point? Like I've spoken very openly on podcasts, being like, I hate training for a good amount of while, just because I wasn't able to train the way I wanted to. I get a lot of fun and a lot of enjoyment out of training legs. So not being able to train legs properly did have a big effect on me.
Yeah. And
But
it seeps into your upper sessions somehow as well, doesn't it? Like,
yeah,
'cause
for
it's
sure.
not just leg training. Again, it takes away your mindset in general. Like when you're not happy with your training, not going to say that dictates your entire mood in your entire life, but when you're not happy with your training, like you feel a bit shit, your mood goes to shit, and then therefore like your other sessions get impacted as well. And like again, obviously I can attest to that as well because I'm still in that position, like and I have been for the past 8, 9 months on my shoulders, and it's realistically not going to get perfect ever again, probably. Because we think it's also a little bit kind of genetic too, but you just need to learn to adapt and work around it. Otherwise, you're just going to get caught in the same cycle over and over and over again. Then, 5 years down the line, you've not built as much muscle as you wanted to. You've not been able to compete, so on and so forth, and you continue to put it off. But like with how you've been able to work around it, like kind of find that little bit extra spark for training again. Like numbers wise, you're like a lot stronger than me on a lot of things. Like it will definitely pay off with how you look next time when you compete. And I think with a well planned out prep, it will be entirely different. And that's obviously one of the big things I kind of wanted to cover on here. Like I've had a few people, inquire, and you will have had as well, like where they're like, yeah, mate, I want to compete this year. Like, mate, you're not ready to compete this year. You're way too soft. But they're like, well, my fucking favorite bodybuilder on a 12-week prep, and they were fat at the start of it. I was like, they also have, 100 pound more muscle than you, and they are full of fucking gear. Like it's nowhere near comparable. Like natural bodybuilding preps need to be significantly longer. You're talking a minimum 20 weeks realistically, and you need to be in a good position to start. Like it makes the world of difference. It made my prep easy. Obviously, like I lose weight relatively easy and I really struggled to put weight on, but I had what did I pull off? 8 kg in my whole prep
Fuck.
across 20 weeks. Yeah, like that's what, not even 20 pounds. And it made it not I'm not gonna say a doddle, obviously it was still fucking difficult, but compared to what you're saying there, like you definitely worked harder than me, realistically. Like had to do more than me and you had to push
I had
yourself
to do
out
more,
further.
but again, like it is very like your level of conditioning was mental. Like you got very, very peeled. Like it's all subjective based off of where you get to. Like you got a lot leaner than me. I had to do a lot more
That's the
training.
thing, like
Like
if you started in a position that I started in, there's no doubt that you would have been really lean and that you would have looked fucking, I'm not gonna say like way, way, way better as if this is a bad look, but you would look way better. Like, if you start in a good position, I think people will underestimate that massively. And obviously everyone and their fucking granny speaks about pre-prep diets nowadays, but it is important. Like to make sure that you are in a good spot going into it and that you're not shooting yourself in the foot like a lot of people will have an unsuccessful prep before they even start it because they start too soft and they have to pull off way too much and they end up kind of losing the plot a little bit because they're working so much. Obviously, you didn't, like you continue to crack on and go through that, and that's again like a really impressive attribute that you've got. But I think starting your preps in a good position, making sure that you've got enough muscle so that you can enjoy it, is a really, really big thing. That's something that's good to cover for years. Because again, I think when you compete next year and put the side by sides up, it'll be like, yeah, that shows the difference. And obviously having muscle, like not to say having muscle, but having a lot more muscle, spending time gaining, being patient with it, starting in a good spot. Like I think it'll be really, really good to see.
I do struggle to be objective when it comes to myself. Like Josh can attest for that.
Mm.
Like when it comes to looking at my physique, like I'm very self-critical and probably overly self-critical. Like I don't like to give myself any real some sort of credit. Um, Especially like where I'm at now and things such as that. Like I don't like it. I can see that I've grown cool. But I've also not seen myself lean since this time.
Yeah.
I had obviously dieted down when I was away in Japan. But obviously just the structure there, everything being very different. It was, we didn't get extremely peeled or anything like that. If I can come down, there should be photos where, yeah, like these shots here. So this is the leanest I've seen myself since 2022. Where I can obviously see I've gained more tissue. And I know I've gained
Or
more.
has like got a hell of a lot more like bubbly, like a
Yeah,
lot more. Again, it's just lower body, but there's reasons behind that.
yeah.
And if
And
you look at those photos from back then to the ones that you kind of compare to now, you can see a drastic difference in levels of muscle mass from there to now.
yeah, hold on if I go.
After this illness, mate, you've dropped 10 pounds, you're pretty much back at there.
I mean, I don't feel like I'm far off looking like this, to be honest with you. I feel like, mate, I kid you not, I dropped about 9 pounds. Hadn't eaten in about 6 days, and any time I did eat, I just threw back straight up. It was horrible. But yeah, these were the shots while I was away. Obviously, um, I had some growing, but like,
The front relaxed shape wise from the upper body.
fuck, have I passed that one?
Your lats sweep well. It's definitely a good thing. Next one. Yeah. Like your front relaxed shape wise for your upper body, that's sick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was in prep.
Again, mate, like how can you look at that and think, oh, I'm not growing that much? Like,
I
and
don't.
you're significantly bigger than you are in the right now as well.
I don't like to. I don't know. It's just I think I'm still stuck in the mindset where I'm still very hard on myself.
Yeah.
Um, like I can objectively see a difference, sure, but I don't like giving myself that kind of credit. I need to still be pretty tough on myself.
Yeah.
But again, like I'd much
If
rather,
it continues to work and shit and cool, but
yeah, I'd much rather do that than ever get complacent.
yeah, the not care and this and that. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
like I think that when it comes to a mindset, it has its benefits, but it has its negatives as well. And again, like we'll see. I would like to place in a show next year. Obviously the goal long term is classic. I think that Finn mentions to me as well, like I'm suited for that long term. And that's where my legs are because my legs do respond well when I can train them.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I can see that from the prep. Even in that photo on the left, like your lower body significantly out muscles your upper body on that prep one.
I think that it's more so a case of just with injuries, what's going to suit for this season. So my aspirations, obviously, with competing in the UK and in Japan, are going to be a top three in junior men's physique. Again, we'll see where that ranks. How I look when I get lean.
Midsection. Like, I never thought about that. Like now that I've seen those photos, like your midsection was good. Now that you've actually got more muscle through your midsection, that
Yeah,
plays into it very well for men's physique because you've got like a satisfying midsection on those shots when you're lean, like when you actually contract down, and that's a big part of men's physique.
yeah. If I come back up, like obviously abs, they are symmetrical. That'll suit me well. My obliques come in, and when I get lean, my waist is tiny. My waist is absolutely tiny. So it'll be cool to see. But again, it's one of those ones where um, it is what it is. It is what it is, you know. I'd like to see where I lie. I'd like to hope that I am within that standard. But again, we'll just see where we lie at the end of this pre-prep when we run it. Make sure that again, no stones are left unturned to try and make that happen. You know,
Sick. I
that's
think
about.
it was everything well. A
That was the
lot of
pre, guys.
hey, a
Hopefully,
lot
all
of
hopefully
points, a lot
the
of
viewers of this podcast have enjoyed it.
oh no, no Finn and Butcher. What
No handsome Matt and no talk about winning an Olympia.
no Louis Vuitton
This
Finn.
is this is Louis Vuitton, no Louis Vuitton Finn, no Daddler's Matt, no Mr. Olympia Josh talking about his prep. This is fifth place in Northern UK.
Fat and washed
Hope
fucking
you
Josh Natural
fucking
Physique, mate.
hope you fucking enjoy it, mate. Hope you
Yeah,
enjoy
I'm
it.
completely washed. You think you're well fit, but injuries and stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not the greatest either, but again, you work around it, don't you?
we
Yeah.
should when we talk a little bit more about how things have been for yourself post prep. I don't know if you did
No, yeah,
that,
that'd be a good one to do, to be fair. Yeah. Even
man.
an episode on, because I'm sure I would have appreciated it when I was like in the depths of Mandarin, not really knowing what to do and no light at the end of the tunnel for people to speak about. Again, mine's not perfect right now, but it is definitely getting better and what to be doing and not to feel bad for yourself, not to let it go into different, parts of your life and kind of work around making sure that you can still be productive in other senses and you don't let it impact your mental health, etc. Because it can be so difficult. Like when it's not like it's kind of like my whole entire identity, like being a bodybuilder and progressing and so on and so forth. And I feel like I can't walk the walk as much as a coach when I'm telling my clients to do shit like that, and I'm not doing it anymore realistically because I can't do certain things. But again, like everyone has their ups and their downs, etc. But I think an episode on that would be good because I made a lot of progress post prep, like out the gates. I was like 17 kg up in 8 months, and like it all went on pretty well. And then since then, like a year ago, I've lost 2 kg and not really put on any muscle. So yeah, it's a difficult one, but I can cover that, and I think doing that in depth would be good. And then like my plans as well for the future because the goalposts might be slightly different, but we'll see. So
I think
yeah,
that'd be, I think that'll be a good one.
interesting.
Yeah, man.
Right, I have a movie to go watch soon, so that wraps us up. If anyone has any requests, any questions, anything at all, please do let us know.
Oh,
Let us know. No voice cracks. I don't know what you're talking about. It's all
oh,
it's all a figment of your imagination. It's
just
because
fuck.
I ran out of water, mate, and my throat's getting a little bit dry.
If
That's
you
all.
want water, use Noah 10 at Pit Stop Nutrition.
Yeah, it's Noah 10 or Josh 10. Fuck Matt 10. Don't like those guys.
Yeah,
I
man.
almost said fuck Noah 10 in the last one, so
Oh,
just whoever's not here, fuck them.
yeah, real man.
That's it, right? Like, subscribe again if you've had any questions. Please do let us know any suggestions. Again, same thing goes. Have a good one, and we shall see you in the next one.
Peace.
See. Pause. Stop.